So I'm going to start talking with a story. So this is about this girl who was my friend. Her name is Disha. She was in college with me, and she was dating this guy called Jeetu. And college time, it was very beautiful. They were madly in love with each other. They wanted to spend all their time with each other. And she would always get a glow in her eyes when they would meet. They fought the whole world, they fought their families to get married to each other. And then I would start getting calls from her saying, after marriage, there were calls from her saying, you know, honeymoon, I didn't have a good time. He wanted to go for adventure sports all the time. I wanted to take a relaxed time. It was very difficult for me. I didn't have as much fun as I thought I will have. After a few years, there were more calls of complaints from her saying things like, he doesn't help out in the house. Now we have children. He leaves the bathroom dirty. He doesn't help out with the children. And there were a lot of initial euphoria died out after a few years. If I spoke with him, he would say, she's not that affectionate. She doesn't give me attention. She doesn't give me affection in physical affection. So he had his own set of complaints. And both of them were constantly complaining about each other. So I started to wonder that this couple, who was such a magical couple in college, how did they turn out to be like this? And why does pretty much every love story or every relationship gradually become the same way? It becomes sort of dead. It's like you're together, but you're not. I just started to wonder why relationships gradually become dull and boring. And in a way, the right word to use would be disconnected. The couples tend to become disconnected with each other. And it is the most terrible place to be. It is like being in a prison when you're in a relationship with somebody, but you're disconnected with that person. And it is actually the most beautiful place to be if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're truly connected with that person, genuinely connected with that person. So Nietzsche says, he who has a why to live for can bear any how. And what can be a greater why than love itself? There can be no greater why to live than the love for somebody. What goes wrong in relationships is that we are constantly seeking love. We are, as Jiddu Krishnamurti puts it, we are beggars of love. We are not seeking to give or share love. So very quickly, from the good stage, the honeymoon stage, the fun stage, we move to the crisis stage of the relationship. In the crisis stage of the relationship, we are there with each other, but we are not truly there with each other. We are not trying hard. We are not we'll go to work, we'll wear our nice clothes, we'll smell good, we'll be charming with people, but we'll come back home, we'll be bringing home sort of like leftovers, maybe even vent other people's anger on our partner. We don't bring our best energy to our partner. There are times when our partner is trying to have a conversation with us, and we are not even there. We are just saying, in a sort of distracted sort of a way, we'll say yes, no, but we are not having a real conversation. So true intimacy, true emotional safety, and true connection is gradually lost in the relationship. Would somebody like to share with me why you think this happens over a period of time in relationships? ऐसा क्यों होता है कि धीरे धीरे रिलेशनशिप्स में हम आपस में इतना साथ रह के भी दूर हो जाते हैं. Would anyone like to take a guess?
You take each other for granted.
Yeah, so over a period of time, because we are more and more secure, we start taking each other for granted. That's so true. But okay, yes. Amrit, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, I think, after the initial honeymoon phase, if we haven't discussed with each other probably or have seen each other deal with certain situations, there are expectations. The only thing I think where a relationship, any relationship goes wrong, be it a romantic partner or any, is first your expectation and second your communication. If you're not able to communicate, then it doesn't work out. Communication is key. All my good relationships which have lasted for 20, 25 years, there is communication. And the one that is not working out, any amount of communication is not enough for that relationship. So I think expectation and communication are only two things. The rest, all of us are
So yes,
self-sufficient. We are
so
enough.
lack of communication would be one of the reasons why the relationship starts to fail.
Yeah. And also expectation.
Expectations, high expectations from each other. Very true. I was seeing somebody else has also risen the hand, right? Anybody else? Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's true. All of these things are there, but deep down inside, so what makes us have expectations? What makes us fail to communicate? What makes us act badly once we are secure? Deep down inside, it's because we all bring our own trauma into our relationship. Our relationships are our biggest mirrors. We will attract a partner. So it is said that we all marry or partner up with our unfinished business. So what happens is whatever issues we sort of build into ourselves growing up, those same issues get a magnified uh, projection in front of our partner. So, for instance, let me try and explain this with an example. If I had a problem, if I was never allowed to speak my boundaries with my parents, so my parents said, this is the time to eat, sit and eat. This is the time to sleep, go off to sleep. And I was not allowed to assert myself. Chances are I will not be able to assert myself with my partner. Then I will have problems asserting my boundaries and saying, I want to eat now, or I want to sleep now, or I don't want to do this, or I want to do this. But then I will start building resentment against my partner that I'm not really able to assert myself. So it is my own problem. Growing up, I haven't learned to set my own boundaries clearly. But then it starts showing in front in within my partnership as an issue. Likewise, if a partner is, let's say, over criticized by a parent growing up, chances are that person becomes very sensitive to criticism. And sometimes, if the other partner is trying to have a conversation, it may not even be criticism. It may be an effort to give, let's say, a feedback for improvement. Chances are this person will immediately become defensive. Oh, I'm getting uh, criticism here. I don't want to hear this. Chances are the same person will be very good at giving out criticism to the other person or giving out, for instance, unsolicited advice. Now, unsolicited advice is also a form of veiled criticism. It's like a disguised criticism. Ki, I think you don't know how to do this, so I'm going to give you advice on how to do this. Or sometimes when we feel that we are not safe, when we allow ourselves to be in an emotionally vulnerable state because we may not have been always emotionally well taken care of in our relationships in the past. Then in our relationship with our partner, there is a good chance that we want to have a partnership, and at the same time we don't truly allow the partnership to become deep. We want to keep a part of ourselves secret. We want to keep a part of ourselves unengulfed or disengaged. And to that extent, we may keep secrets from our partners, or we may keep a little distance from our partners. So basically, it is all our childhood wounds which start coming out in a bigger way once we are emotionally attached with a person, because now we start feeling jittery because our emotional vulnerabilities are out in the open. It's all out there. We are open to hurt. We are quick to hurt now. And that is why our close relationships and partnerships are actually our biggest opportunity to work on our own self. While we all go into relationship, most of the people who come into counseling for keep saying, please teach my partner to do this better, please teach my partner, then everything will be okay if my partner changes. Actually, every person who is in a relationship needs to go into the relationship thinking, how can I be a better person because of what I learn in this relationship? And if both people go into the relationship thinking like that, it is bound to be a successful relationship. So, the most important thing to have a successful relationship is to do the self work. And then, when we do that, love works as a medicine for us. So, the other important thing to remember is not to hope that, oh, our partner should change. As she said, have a lot of expectations out of our partner. Rather, go with the view of simply accepting the partner exactly as they are. Think of how we can come into the relationship as better people, but accept your partner exactly as they are. Choose praise over criticism every day. Make it a rule to choose praise over criticism. Praise as much as you can. And that truly builds the partner. It is very, very common for the partner, especially it's seen that criticism is very easy to dole out. You didn't do this right. You didn't. There's 100 things being done, but the one thing that didn't happen correctly will be pointed out. But there is no gratitude expressed for the 100 good things done, because that is now gradually taken for granted in the relationship. The saying thank you every day, even for the things that may have been done every day for 30 years or 20 years, is very important. If he or she has been making your cup of tea every morning, start saying thank you and see the difference, because no, it's not just about saying thank you, it's also about feeling the gratitude in your heart that yes, I have this person whom I can ask or rely on to make my cup of tea, or whom I can rely on to drive me down from one place to the other, or any other such little things, or to be kind to my parents, no matter how difficult they can sometimes be. Another important thing to keep the flow of love in relationships. So, we have been taught that it takes courage to keep quiet in relationships. A lot of times, our families teach us that you keep quiet, do not express yourself. It actually, it's the other way around. It's important to keep the communication on, because when we don't express ourselves, we are actually expecting our partner to be a mind reader, and nobody is a mind reader. So there's this little joke where this person said, what would you like for your birthday? And the other one said, oh, I don't want anything. And then the next day, she got nothing for her birthday. And then she was upset that she got nothing. So if you want something, just say that this is what I want. Be clear, be unambiguous about exactly what you want in the relationship. If you still don't get it, say it again and again, but at least be clear. Don't expect the don't say, oh, but he should know that there should be a gift on my birthday. No, he doesn't know, he's different. He's not like you. So say it and then see what happens. Another important area of communication is when there is an issue, like a conflict in your mind, when you don't like something and you think, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Now, this may be because you think you're being the bigger person here and you don't want to bring out something and create any sort of bad blood here. Or this could be because you are thinking that done it before and you've seen your partner react badly to it, so it's a learned behavior. If you have seen your partner behave badly to it in the past, then of course that needs to be handled differently. But if you're just in a habit of keeping quiet and keeping it in your heart, it's not something good you're doing for the you're not being the bigger one, because what you keep inside starts keeps building up as resentment, and you're building a mountain of resentment. You and as they say, the inside your soul knows, the body keeps the score. So nothing, you cannot be dishonest on the outside. At one level, your partner will know that there is some anger or some resentment inside, and that will affect your relationship eventually. So if you have a grievance, express it and find a solution going forward. But don't think you're doing the bigger thing by not expressing yourself. So, another thing, of course, is building an environment of trust where, even where it may seem like a very little thing, a small white lie, a small little secret, always speak the truth. The only thing is, it doesn't mean I was speaking the truth. That's why I told you you're stinking right now. No, your truth need not be unnecessarily rude to the other person. But yes, wherever required, with kindness, always speak the truth to your partner, so that even in the long run they know that they can trust you 100% when you say something. Another important place is to be a team player. Now, what happens, especially in our Indian society, is that there's a lot of family interference, and that's when your team is tested. And usually one partner will say, either they will take the side of the family rather than their partner, or they will say, I'm not interfering, it's between you and them. But that is not good for the relationship. Once you two are partners, you are responsible for each other, and everything you do together, you do it as a team. You always think of yourself as a team first. So it is not necessary that your partner is always right, but their problem is your problem and you both solve it together. uh Keeping the ego, there's a comment on that, keeping the ego down, keeping the ego low, which is pretty much the opposite of love. Every time ego comes into the play, chances are you're low on the love aspect. And that's when it will be easier to accept your partner's influence. So it's very, when the ego is low, you can go up to your partner and say, I need a piece of advice. How do you think I should handle this situation? Or how do you think I should speak to this person, or what do you think I should do about my time management about this? And this will make your partner feel like they are important to you. This will make them feel like you see them as intelligent and wise, as an intelligent and wise person. And this again builds the team. And you can kind of it's I think it's fair to presume that your partner, when they influence you, when they say, I think you shouldn't trust that business associate, or you should be careful about this, or do this a little differently. When you accept the influence, chances are your partner had your best in mind. They may or may not be right, but they definitely had the best intentions. I th- because why, if your partner would definitely want best for you. uh be generous with forgiveness. We are not perfect, neither is the partner. Nobody in the world is perfect. We are all full of flaws. That's just how the world is. We've been brought up by people who were imperfect, and that led us to become imperfect people. We will all make mistakes as we go along, and forgiveness goes a long way in having beautiful relationships. There's a book by Gary Chapman which tells us that there are only 5 ways in which love can be expressed. It is important to prioritize your partner and use all the 5 love languages as loudly as possible. Just radiate love. I'm hoping you all read the book. If you haven't, it's of course highly recommended. I'll quickly run you through. So one of the love, so the first love language I would say is acts of service, which is the little things, service, acts of service you do for the other person. It may be, again, the cup of tea you made for your partner, you got their car serviced, you kept the house clean, you got their shirt ironed, all acts of service. Spending quality time with each other. Now, two people can live in the same house, spend 24 hours together. Especially these days, it's very important to not spend even a minute of quality time together. One person can be browsing through the phone, another can be on the laptop, another can be watching the television, and you could be completely disconnected. So, it is very important to take the time out and genuinely spend quality time together where you're connecting with each other. Now, we've all seen that couple who sits in the restaurant, is eating a meal together, and both of them are looking at their phones rather than looking at each other and actually having a conversation. So you can also be at a dinner table in a restaurant and still not connect with each other. So it's important to have a truly quality time with each other. There are, of course, other ways to do it, and it takes a little bit of extra courage to build that in. But you can always plan, a night out, a dinner night out, or when you're just having your morning cup of tea together, make it a little bit special. Have it in the balcony, have a nice conversation with each other, make sure there's no criticism involved, make sure there's no topics such as the plumber or housekeeping, but make it a little more special. Maybe plan a small vacation with each other, or plan cooking together, anything, or plan a game together. Being friends with each other is a very important thing. Continue to have fun together. Another language of love is giving gifts to each other. And that must always continue. So we start thinking, oh, but I'm buying all the essentials for her, or I'm buying all the essentials for him. So when he runs out of uh, t-shirts, I'm the one who buys them anyway. So what's the point of giving him a gift? But gifts have a different meaning, it's like doing something special. It's and everybody, no matter how rich they are, how much they can afford anything, everybody loves to receive gift because it speaks of the fact that you were in somebody's thoughts, which is why flowers are so important. It feels so special to receive flowers. Then words of affirmation are very important. So that's the fourth love language we're talking about, which is when you express in words how much that person means to you. And over the years, we just stopped doing that. It's like, obviously, I'm living with you. I'm the one who does everything for you. So obviously, I do care about you, is how we become. In fact, recently I went to my aunt's birthday, and I encouraged everybody to say some nice things for her. And I asked my mausa ji, her husband, ki aap bhi kuch boliye. You also say something nice for her. Give her a compliment. Say something. And everybody else in the party was able to come up with extremely nice compliments for her. But her own husband could not come up with a single compliment, except that he said, "Yeah, obviously, with time, we as couples we care about each other." Beyond that, he could not come up with a single nice compliment for her. So I think it's like how couples start taking things for granted. And yes, the fifth love language, sort of like kind of like the most important in a way, uh, is the love language of touch, which includes hugs, cuddling, holding hands, and kisses. And it doesn't matter what age you are. And it may sound frivolous after a certain age to some people, but it's not. It is very, very important to, if you start with maybe, just putting the hand on the shoulder, but there's magical healing power of touch. It's a scientifically proven fact that the touch of your loved one actually releases hormones in your body like endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, which can actually alter your genes. A cuddle can actually activate the epigenome. So just do not underestimate the power of touch in the relationship. No words need to be exchanged when you've hugged each other and or just held each other's hand. Just take a walk holding the hand for maybe start with a little while holding the hand. Now, what these are the five love languages. A common problem that arises in relationships is that one partner predominantly speaks a different love language and the other speaks a different love language. Ritu, in the end, we'll say 15 minutes for questions, so we'll cover it all up. Yeah. So what happens is they don't understand each other's love language. So for instance, I knew this couple, and the girl kept complaining that he is so low on helping me out with the house chores. It feels like he's unwilling to share my burden, and I feel unsupported. And when I spoke to him, he would say that she never wants to cuddle, she never wants to hug, and it feels like she feels no affection for me. And actually, they were both seeking affection in a different love language. So she would have felt loved if he showed his love through acts of service, and he would have felt loved if she showed her love through physical affection. And both of them are constantly battling each other because they're not understanding that one is expecting a different language, and both are doing the expecting. So neither one of them is willing to give love in the other person's love language. So if she needs to hear this love language from him, that she needs to see him be present with his acts of service, then he needs to stand up and do that instead of just going on saying, but what's in it for me? When do I get my cuddles? He needs to make that start. And when he's saying that I need more cuddles, she needs to stop saying, but oh, you didn't help me with the chores in the morning, or I'm not going to touch you. So she can also maybe hold his hand, have a conversation. So both of them need to, the selfishness needs to go down, and looking at the other person's love language is important. Now, lastly, I would say that one of the important areas is how we handle dispute. And handling dispute. So, what happens is over a period of time, there are micro incidences and sometimes macro incidences, often, in fact, macro incidences. And they all accumulated. And like I said, they become mountains. And the reason why we don't address them is because we are afraid, because we've tried addressing them, and they've led to maybe a further cascading of events which makes us scared to express ourselves. But after a point, the couple stops expressing their grievances. There's no resolution of dispute. And then there's all this built up resentment. And with resentment, one actually doesn't feel like holding hands or cuddling or having a heart to heart conversation, and the heart connect is lost. So do we how do we look at resolving dispute? One must also remember that, so as per John Gottman, 69% of disputes are never resolved in any relationship, which is why we need to remember that it's okay, people are different, and it's okay to accept them as they are and forgive them for who they are also sometimes. But if something is bothering you and a boundary needs to be established, then it is important to do it as soon as possible. Now, how soon is as soon as possible? If something has been done and I'm very upset, I'm so upset that if I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to raise my voice, I might start calling names. It's the wrong time to talk about it. So I must wait till I'm calmer. I can even ask my partner for time. Give me some time. I have an issue. I'm not okay right now. I will talk about it. But I must be calmer. But as soon as I can talk in a calm state of mind, I must talk about it. And then the way to talk about it, the most important thing is that the partner should not feel blamed or criticized. So your first sentence should not be, you did this. It should be, I felt this when this happened. So, somebody give me an example of something that we can, let's say, you want to express something to your partner that they did. Okay. I went out for a party, and the partner's sister said something about my outfit, that you're looking like a Christmas tree today. And I came out of the party and said, she said that was so rude. And the partner said, come on, don't make a big deal out of it. Don't get started now. And I am so annoyed with the partner now, because first his sister said something so rude, and now he said, don't get started. Now I need to talk about this with my partner. So, how do I address it? I don't say you spoke rudely to me because then I'm blaming him for being rude to me. I say, I felt hurt or I felt unheard when you did not, or I felt misunderstood when you could not understand what I was trying to say the other day. And now it's the partner's turn to respond. So what are the options? How would the partner respond? Somebody like to go? So there are many ways. Typically, if the partner has wounds, there is a chance that the partner might just say, oh, I don't remember, nothing like that happened. ऐसा तो कुछ हुआ ही नहीं. I don't know what you're talking about. I never even said that. That's a difficult one to navigate, and you'll have to come back to it and say, no, that's not my experience. That did happen. But you have to be firm. You have to learn to put your boundaries firmly. You can't let it end at that. Your partner says, yes, that happened. But what do you expect me to do? I could not have interfered. It's between you and her. Now, your possible reply can be, yes, it was between me and her. I was only telling you what I felt, and all I needed was for you to hear me, to understand me. And what now it is very important for the partner to validate your feeling, to say that, yes, I understand how that might have made you feel. All I needed to hear at that moment was from my partner, yes, I understand how that might have made you feel. That's it. It's not about taking sides. It's not about doing anything about it. But it's about accepting that you understand how I feel. And usually that's the end of that. So there's no resolution to this conflict. But just the fact that your partner has understood how you feel. And likewise, you would have to do the same thing for your partner when they come up to you with a grievance and come back to say, I may or may not agree with your experience, but yes, I understand how this might have made you feel. When you validate your partner's experience or feelings, it really helps to dissolve the conflict in a big way. Usually, that's what the other person is looking for. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the important thing, of course, is to fight fair, no raising voices, no toxicity, no bad language. Even in the middle of the dispute, if you reach a point where you think one of you is going on that path, it is completely valid to take a break, come back to the dispute, and say, okay, let's discuss it at a time when we can do it calmly, but do it anyway, resolve the dispute. So, why would you say that relationships are so important? They are so important because it's not about two people. If two people are genuinely connected, then their children have a completely different energy about them. They're a completely different lot. And then their children are a completely different lot. And if every couple starts working on themselves this way, we'll have an entirely different society. This is this is the game changer for the society. This is the way to have a more peaceful world at large. But what happens is People continue to live together, angrily together, upset with each other, and all that bad energy is everywhere. They're not only bringing it to each other, they're bringing it out to the outside world, and they continue to live dissatisfied lives with each other. In a good relationship, it's the intimacy is not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. You grow in the relationship, and then you start growing outside of the relationship. You bring that energy outside of the relationship and you grow everywhere. It's like a safe haven where you feel peaceful, you feel appreciated, and you feel like somebody has your back at all points of time, because you feel deeply heard, you feel seen, felt, and understood by your partner.
Yeah, also giving space to each other is important. No?
Yes, in a relationship, there's no harm in giving space to each other. It's in fact very important to give space to each other, but it doesn't mean how much space. If there's so much space that you're never connecting with each other, then you're living two separate lives. So the balance between space and connection is very important. No one should feel ki, oh, too much clinginess would also be a sign of insecurity only, or codependence in the relationship. But do you feel that there are moments when you and your partner are deeply connected with each other? There are deep conversations, they are your best friend. Then yes, there should be space in the relationship.
When the partner is very short tempered, it's very difficult to communicate and resolve any dispute. It's very difficult to address the dispute also, to bring up that matter. Like you said, 69% of the time it's not resolved. We don't mention because we're very afraid it may again cause more disparities.
Yeah. When you say short tempered, are you saying the person is stonewalling or raising the voice or
Raising the voice and just walk out and behave very abruptly. So it, like you said, we become emotionally distant, and it sets in over the years that they don't understand, or there's a non-acceptance of things, and we think like I think in most of the couples it is the same. Like no, they don't think alike, or they don't agree on so many things. Sometimes I
to
question, is
disagree
it?
is fine. To disagree,
Mm,
two people may
mm,
not agree on things,
mm,
but to shout is a sign of disrespect in the relationship, or even to stonewall. For example, some people will not talk. A partner will now get upset, and like you're saying, distancing can go on for 2 days, 3 days. I'm not talking to you. So you start feeling emotionally lonely in that relationship. That in their anger, they are not talking to you for 3 days.
mm,
So that's not a good environment for the relationship. And in that case, changes need to come from both sides.
mm.
Um, I would, yeah, recommend counseling for the couple in that case, because shouting is
Tried that, but he is not ready to come to a counselor along with me. The ego is so high that he feels there's nothing wrong with me. Yes.
okay.
Mm,
I would see he's not ready. Maybe you can take a few sessions, and I'm
mm,
offering some discounted sessions for Nitya's. Uh,
mm.
mm, so see if you'd like, and we can maybe resolve this over.
In fact, Neha, what अभी ऐसे लगता है कि I have developed a safe haven and this thing a cool now acceptance आ गया कि हाँ he is like this, okay, no problem. I am also happy in my own
So,
world or
but
whatever.
then now with this, the disconnect level must be very, very high. You're like definitely two people living in two separate worlds,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
He's very busy in his own business world and in his own work and this thing.
and do you still feel like rebuilding the relationship?
We feel the relationship which we have now is good enough. Like अब एक boundary set हो गए हैं, and I feel कि now you cannot disrespect me in this way, and I feel I'm comfortable and happy in what things are. But I am very very scared to address any of my like to bear open my heart or my emotions in front of him. I will never do that.
I'm
I'm
sure
so
you
because
feel
of
lonely at one level.
शायद the group is there with similar people and we are like
As long as you're
uh,
happy, it's okay. As long as you're
uh,
happy with, because
hmm,
you built up other methods,
relations.
got other friends, you've got your
Hmm,
spirituality going for you. So maybe
yeah,
no longer holds any meaning for you, and that's okay.
yeah, yeah,
If you'd
right.
like more relationship specific solutions, then feel free to reach out.
Yeah, then I'll think, oh, right, right, correct.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Neha. And I like the part where you said ki, you don't say you did this, you say I felt this.
Yeah,
That is
because
really a
then the
very nice game
defensiveness,
changer.
yeah, defensiveness comes in the other person.
Hmm.
मेरे
Yeah.
ऊपर blame जा रहा है, so I have to now say
हाँ. They
I
feel
didn't do
criticized,
it.
they feel cornered if you say that.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. It's just simple words, but it changes the whole point of view. Right. It was wonderful. Thank you, Nia. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Best thing I like was like you said, you appreciate your husband rather than, do whatever outset he has. We have to ignore that and we should only appreciate.
So they always says, no, what you focus on expands.
Yeah.
So that's so simple. Just keep doing that.
I
He'll
right
want to
now,
please you more. He'll keep doing more nice things for you.
right now I'm only finding negatives in him. So now this
That also, that's the brain's thing, brain finds negative in everything and everyone over a period of time, and we stop
sometimes
appreciating the good things.
nice, but
So
with
maybe start a journal and start finding three things, two things, one thing every day, which is good about him.
now in a gratitude I'll do write about it. But then I just write it. From today's talk, I will genuinely mean it.
Nice.
And I would like to just have a request. I have read this book of five love languages.
Yeah,
You can put those 5 pointers in the chat.
sure, I'll do that. In the interactive, SP interactive, no?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Love.
you.
Hi, can I go?
Yes.
Yeah. Neha, was it you the other day who'd written on that your husband must be a narcissist?
Sorry, what?
The other day we were having a session with Nithya on how to communicate. I think it was, yeah, it was something about communication. And I told him that there's this one particular relationship where I'm not able to put my point forward. It is just
Huh.
always miscommunicated. And somebody, I missed the name, somebody did, and he must be a narcissist. So was it
No, no, no,
you?
I don't make judgments like that. Sorry,
Ah,
no.
okay. No, no, sorry, sorry.
That's a
So, okay,
very
to cut the
strong judgment to make on a person just based on he doesn't listen to you. That could be your perspective also.
No, no,
And
to cut the whole thing short here,
yeah,
I'm trying to ask you is, yeah, the person could be a narcissist. I agreed to that, not because she's whoever said it, mentioned it there, but I've been studying about it for more than 6, 8 months now,
hmm.
and I really wanted to put a finger on where things were going wrong, and I mean, whatever was wrong, I wanted to find out what was wrong, where was I going wrong, what were other things that are not working out.
Hmm.
So, but you just started the session by saying that your partner is the biggest mirror, right?
Yes, so there is a reason why, in the first place, you started a relationship with a narcissist and why it continued for as long as it did. Let's presume that you're right, that he's a narcissist.
So because let's say there are 15, 20 pointers to point out this particular aspect of that person, and they all match, man, completely, to through and through, completely. So I was like, okay, now I know this is the problem. Okay, this is probably the problem. How do I deal with it? Do we play around with our mind to learn to deal with this kind of a person and continue it, or take a call? I mean, I'm stuck at that juncture in life. Oh, like Neeru, I have made peace with a lot of things. If I want to go ahead with the same relationship, I'm good to go. I have my spiritual friends. I have my own life. I'm close to my kids, and I could build a career also if I want to, whatever. But that one slight aspect of loneliness in the most intimate relationship that you should be having is lacking.
Yeah, I
So that's
understand. And
that.
that's a big one. That's not a small thing. And we cannot underestimate the power of that one relationship. It's easier said than done, but it's one need that everyone kind of deserves to get, but also, like I said, it is our greatest mirror. It is our greatest learning platform, and it teaches us about ourselves more than it teaches us about anybody else.
How, Neha, please, how, please help me. Even Nitya said the other day he's your biggest teacher. How? What do we learn from these people? Please help me. And
So
not only Nitya, my other two gurus have also said, there are two spiritual teachers whom I follow. Even they said he's your guru.
yeah.
I'm like, how can this person be my guru?
So see, I think I would again recommend that we have a session together, a proper 1 hour
Yeah,
session.
yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll have a
yeah,
word
I
with
would
you.
highly recommend that. There are different ways to handle a full-blown narcissist. Of course, narcissism is also a spectrum. So we don't know where on this, if presuming you're right, we don't know where on the spectrum
No,
he is.
woman, I've done study like crazy people for 8 months. And only after that, I'm actually up.
Okay.
19 years is a long
Then
time to
also we
spend with
don't know
someone
where
and
on the
judge them.
spectrum he is, if
That
there's
I wouldn't
anything
know. Yeah.
else associated with it. And then there are your
There's
life
trauma again
now, if
because I'm an inner child healing person. I just learned it last year. So
uh,
I knew that he's come from his bag with his baggage and his childhood traumas and all that.
yeah. So then there are various ways to deal with it. And we'll have to figure out exactly how to do it, what would be best suited to you.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll get in
And
touch with you,
also,
Neha.
most of the work you will have to do on yourself.
Okay.
So you probably have issues with asserting your boundaries or self-love or things like that. So the moment you
Yeah,
start
yeah,
working on yourself,
yeah.
your questions will answer themselves on their own.
Okay. Okay. Done, done. I will have a session with you only. Yeah, asserting boundaries was one thing I think I didn't do in the initial stage of the relationship, and it just
So that's what he's there to teach you.
yes. Okay, so that's why he's my guru. Thank you so much, Vedant. Asserting boundaries, you said, and it's a self-love. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have a reason
That's
to be
one thing I
grateful
don't
to
do.
him. He's already taught you how to assert boundaries.
No, I still haven't learned that. I'm still all over. I'm just there for people. Oh, walk over me. I don't know why I do that.
So
Come.
that's what therapy will help you to reach to the root of why you do these things and how you can work on it.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I think I'll have a session with you.
Mhm. Look
Thank you
forward.
so much, Neha. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.